Hey, so today I'm going to cover a question I get asked quite a lot by people who really want to test their strength. So how do you work out or work up to a 1 rep max? Now, this is something you gain with experience. Your true 1 rep max will always build as you get more experience in training. But this is a process I use for most beginners or first-time testers that will help build a 1 rep max and give you a good idea of what kind of strength numbers you have. So there's two main things you need to look at. Firstly, when we are building up to a 1 rep max, we need to almost conserve a little bit of energy. We need to make sure the energy is being used at this deeper end when we're doing our singles and testing that, but we need to also make sure we are warmed up properly and we are officially primed in our body to push that weight. We are going to be taking our body to its limit, so we need to make sure it's prepared. And this is why there's a good structure to follow. What you need to work out first is percentage of your effort or your current PB. So let's say for this instant, we're looking at a deadlift and our current PB is 100 kilos. Beforehand, 100% for us was 100 kilos. This gives the number, so our percentage here will be the number of kilos. So 75%, we're looking at 75 kilos. Now, for most people, that will be 8 to 10 reps as a challenge. Those last 2 reps will be difficult. However, we're going to save 1 or 2 reps. So we're not going to go near that fatigue in our first few sets. So we're going to warm up properly first, making sure first set will be about 75%, conserving some of the reps. So we're looking at 6 to 8 reps. Then we're going to increase to 80 kilos in a sense of 80%. So there's a 5% increase, which is actually quite a big jump. Don't be fooled by that. But again, for someone who's doing 100 kilos, if you're mathematically right, you should be looking at 6 to 8 reps. In this case, we're going to do 4 to 6. And it's really up to you. You can save a lot more. You have 4 really good tempo reps or 4 like really explosive reps, however you feel comfortable and you feel confident in those moves. Don't worry, if you're not confident at this point, this is where we slow down, because what people make mistakes of is they then jump quite small jumps and they actually fatigue later on. So if we're not comfortable here, it's probably best to call it a day in terms of 1 rep max testing and just do your normal training. So keep that in mind. However, if you are feeling comfortable, we'll move on and we'll jump to about 85, 88%, okay? So this is our first kind of big jump to push and save set. Again, on this will be 85, 80. But I'm looking at doing 2 to 4 reps. Ideally, the lower number to conserve, because if we're doing 88, I don't want to be doing 4 reps of that. That's going to be heavy. Okay, it's going to fatigue myself, and I want to give myself the best chance possible to improve that number. Okay, then we get down to the business end. So we're talking over 90%. This is where you go to your singles. Okay, so single rep. Now, majority of people who are experienced in lifting single weights will be able to do maybe 2 to 3 reps of 90%. However, we are trying to conserve and also push that 100% number. So what we are then looking to do is do singles. So in between each of these sets, you are looking at least 2.5 to 3 minutes of resting, which up here will seem like a lot. Down here, not so much. But you want plenty of rest. You want to be fully fit. So when we get to that 100 kilo, that 100%, we are pushing it. If all goes well and you're experienced, you hit that 100 and you still feel like that was maybe 98%, is where we go to the magic 101. And this is where patience come into play and everything else in between of our training. Now, what a lot of people will do, they will jump from that 100%, they'll hit 100, and then they'll go 105 and increase it by 5% in those exact numbers. However, at that end, 1% makes a big difference. So if we're adding 1 kilo to our 1 rep max, that is a PB, and that is a big difference in comparison to adding 5 kilos at this end. There's a big thing to keep in mind when you're challenging that. So if you're around this 98 number, don't jump more than 2.5 kilos, okay? If you can jump more than 5, you are more at this percentage anyway. So just keep that in mind. So with this one, we are looking to find out if we can do that rep. We've got 3 working sets at our 1 rep max. Now, a true 1 rep max will knacker you out. So please don't do this in a midweek of training. Do it at the very start and allow yourself plenty of rest days after. Otherwise, you will be very tired and risk injury, and there's a lot of other things that could go wrong. So that's quite a very basic format. If you have any questions, pop them in below, and I'll get to answer them as soon as I can.